Every man who touched Evelyn Cross died within 3 days. The first had kissed her beneath the broken exit sign behind Bellwether High. Adrian Shaw had been 18, warm-mouthed and nervous, with one hand trembling against her cheek. 3 nights later, his heart stopped while he slept. The second had been a paramedic who cut off her glove after a car accident and held her bare wrist while counting her pulse. He died 71 hours later in the ambulance bay. The third had tried to hurt her. Evelyn did not lose sleep over him. By 29, she had learned to live carefully. She wore black gloves in every season. She worked alone restoring damaged books from museums that mailed their dead things to her and never asked why she refused to shake hands. Groceries appeared outside her apartment once a week. Her closest friend, Nora, had not hugged her in 11 years. Her apartment had become equal parts home and workshop. The front room smelled of wheat paste, paper, dust, and the faint vanilla sweetness of decaying pages. Bone folders lay in exact rows beside jars of brushes. Books arrived split, stained, and softened by other people's hands. Evelyn repaired their spines while guarding her own skin as if it were the more fragile material. Loneliness became easier when she called it responsibility. Then Daniel Rusk touched her on a Tuesday. He was the building manager, a broad man with a wet smile and a habit of entering apartments before anyone answered. Evelyn found him in her bedroom that afternoon, crouched beside the antique iron bed she had owned since childhood. "What are you doing?" Daniel rose too quickly. The wooden box in his hand struck the bed frame with a dull knock. He smelled of burnt coffee and the sharp citrus cleaner used in the downstairs hall. The ordinary scents made his presence in her bedroom feel more obscene. He had brought the outside world into the one room she kept untouched. It was Evelyn's box. Inside were newspaper clippings about Adrian and the paramedic, 2 death certificates she had paid too much to obtain, and a small silver hand mirror that had belonged to her mother. "Pipe inspection," he said. "Under my bed?" His gaze dropped to the box, then to her gloved hands. "You're a strange woman, Evie." No one called her Evie. She stepped aside and pointed toward the hall. "Get out." He smiled as though she had flirted. When he reached for her, Evelyn twisted away. His fingers caught the torn cuff of her right glove and dragged it down. Bare skin scraped bare skin. For a moment, the room became perfectly still. The radiator stopped ticking. Traffic softened beyond the glass. Even the suspended dust appeared to wait. Daniel stared at their joined hands. Something beneath the bed inhaled. It was a slow, satisfied breath, the sound of a sleeper turning toward a familiar voice. Daniel released her. "What the hell was that?" Evelyn pulled her glove back into place. Her pulse beat hard enough to hurt. "You have 3 days." He laughed. They always did. Daniel Rusk was found dead Friday night at 11:43, folded inside the narrow maintenance closet on the ground floor. The police said his neck had been broken, although there was no bruise, no swelling, and no sign that anyone else had entered. At 11:44, someone knocked on Evelyn's apartment door. Not 3 polite knocks, one. She stood in the hall with Daniel's death spreading coldly through her chest and watched the brass knob turn. The deadbolt slid free by itself. A man entered wearing a long black coat beaded with rain, though the night beyond her windows was dry. He was tall without seeming large, pale without appearing sick. Dark hair brushed his collar. His face was composed of severe lines and a mouth that looked as if it had forgotten every gentle word it had once known. Cold entered with him. It carried the mineral smell of rain on cemetery stone and something darker beneath it, the clean, damp scent of earth churned by a shovel. He closed the door behind him. Evelyn reached for the knife she kept on the entry table. "That will not help," he said. His voice was low and calm, not threatening, somehow worse. Who are you? The man's attention settled on her gloves. Someone who has spent 11 years cleaning up after you. The knife was in her hand before she realized she had moved. He did not look at it. Adrian Shaw, he said. October 17th. Thomas Bell, the paramedic. June 4th, Marcus Venn behind the Blue Room Tavern. January 9th, her grip loosened. I never told anyone about Marcus. Marcus told me. The man crossed the apartment. There was no hurry in him, no caution either. The bedroom light flickered as he passed its open doorway. From beneath the bed came the faint scrape of something drawing one long nail across the floorboards. The stranger stopped. For the first time, his expression changed. Not fear, recognition. How long has it been under there? He asked. Evelyn's mouth went dry. There is nothing under my bed. The nail scraped again. The male looked at her. You should know better than to lie in front of death. Silence pressed against the room. Evelyn gave a small, disbelieving laugh. It escaped before she could stop it. Death? One of his servants. The Grim Reaper is standing in my apartment. A Grim Reaper, he corrected. There are more dead than one pair of hands could manage. His gaze returned to the bedroom. You may call me Morrow. The thing beneath the bed whispered his name. Not aloud. The sound traveled through the iron frame, along the floorboards, and up through the soles of Evelyn's feet. Morrow heard it too. He removed his coat and laid it across the back of a chair. Beneath it, he wore a black shirt buttoned at the throat and gloves the color of old ash. Daniel Rusk died 4 minutes ago, he said. His soul should have been waiting for me. It was not. Evelyn forced air into her lungs. I don't know what that means. It means you are not killing these men. For 11 years, she had imagined someone saying those words. She had never imagined they would hurt. Then what is? Morrow approached until only the knife stood between them. Take off your glove. No. You want proof? I want you out of my apartment. Those are not the same thing. He lifted one hand and slowly removed his own glove, finger by finger. His skin was pale and smooth, marked across the palm by a thin black line that resembled a cut, filled with ink. His hand did not tremble. Evelyn backed into the table. People die. Yes. When I touch them. Usually. And you want me to touch you? Something almost like amusement moved behind his eyes. I have survived worse, woman. She should have refused. She should have run into the hall, found the nearest crowded place, and accepted whatever humiliation followed. Instead, Evelyn set down the knife. 11 years without another person's skin was a long time, long enough for terror to resemble hunger. She peeled off her right glove. Morrow watched the movement with the concentration of a man witnessing the unlocking of a weapon. If you die, she whispered, I warned you. If I die, Evelyn Cross, you will have much larger problems. She placed her palm against his. Cold rushed through her. Not winter cold, grave cold. Deep earth and stone and the final breath trapped in a dead person's lungs. The taste of iron touched the back of her tongue. Somewhere beyond sight, she heard 1,000 small sounds ending at once. A monitor flattening, a glass falling from a loosened hand, a name spoken too late. Then Morrow's fingers crossed around hers. The cold shattered. Heat climbed Evelyn's arm so quickly that she gasped. Every nerve in her hand awakened at once. The shape of his palm, the pressure of his fingers, the roughness at the base of his thumb. Small sensations other people received without earning them struck her with the force of a memory. Her body leaned toward the contact before pride could stop it. The response embarrassed her. It also felt more honest than anything she had done in years. Morrow went utterly still. His eyes darkened. You feel that? She said. I feel you. No one had ever made 3 words sound so dangerous. The bedroom door slammed shut. Morrow pulled Evelyn against him as the apartment lights died. His free arm locked around her waist. For one breathless second, her body was pressed along the length of his. She felt everything. So did he. Beneath the floor, the creature began to laugh. Morrow lowered his mouth to Evelyn's ear. It knows what you want now. His grip tightened when something struck the side of the bedroom door. Once, twice, then the monster beneath Evelyn's bed spoke clearly for the first time in 23 years. He will die like all the others. Morrow looked down at their joined hands. A black mark had appeared beneath his skin, and it was moving towards his heart.